You're listening to the Chartographers.
You are listening to the Chartographers. It is a music-loving podcast for music-loving people, and this is the Season 2 premiere, goddammit! Holy shit! I can't believe it, quite frankly. It's been a long time since we've done this incredible and wonderful podcast. We took a break after the first season because we had dozens of episodes and tons of artists and amazing guests. And thank you all for listening during that time, too. We're now on, podcast networks like Playlist FM and Stitcher and all these other things, which is like...
It's been crazy.
I don't even know.
And in the meantime, since taking a break, we've passed 2,000 and then 2,500 plays.
Yeah.
So that's
just regular humans, and again, you know,
and
how
we're not
shitty
even posting new episodes.
Yeah, and you know how shitty we are promoting this. So this is amazing.
Yeah.
So thank you everyone who's listening. And listen, we're back after a couple months, and we are excited because listen, we have seasons now, we have premieres, we have endings. We're what do people do in season premieres? Do you know what they do? They kill off a beloved character. So we're not gonna do that. We're gonna wait till the end. We're gonna wait till the end of the season, but listen to the clues, figure out who the murderer is before you hear heavy breathing in the microphone. You know what's going on. So, I think he's here. But more importantly, though, we're gonna rank the entire discography of one of the biggest artists of all time. The biggest, maybe the biggest, well, at least the biggest pop star in all of recorded history, guys. Today, we're talking about the one, the only, that sparkle-gloved slender man who told you it was cool to walk backwards. That's right, guys. We're talking about Michael Jackson. Oh, or Mr. Jackson if you're nasty. The defendant if you're litigious. All right, so hey, Michael Jackson. He started out in the Jackson 5. He has the incredible run of #1 hits before he even was 10. Basically, he is incredible. He was a young prodigy. And then as a teenager, he was kind of lost in a little bit of the Motown machine a little bit, broke out into his own, and then started defining pop music in ways you wouldn't even believe or imagine up until his very, very tragic passing in 2009. So, we decided that because of that, he has a lot of albums that were pre-fame, basically, quote-unquote, pre-Off the Wall. A lot of people consider Off the Wall the start of his discography. He's had some posthumous albums. We're going to rank them. That's what we do. It's what we're really good at it. And we started drinking, so it's going to be a good time. So, guys, in order to do this, in order to do the impossible, insurmountable task of ranking Michael Jackson albums, we got to have the greatest possible people here, the American Music Award Committee, here to try and determine what is the best. So, of course, first off, there's me. I am Evan Saadi. Wow.
What's your name?
Sadiah Garrett. I am Evan Saadi. I am an editor over at Pop Matters. You probably know me as the host of this podcast, and if you know me as the host of this podcast, you know that there is the Quincy Jones behind me, of course. That is, of course, Taryn O'Reilly, the one, the only, the sensation.
I think that's the best, character you've portrayed me as so far. Yeah. I will take Quincy Jones.
Listen, at this point in the season, it is all downhill from here. It is just.
Yeah.
We're on episode. And please welcome my accordion, Taryn O'Reilly.
That just went
way
high to low real quick.
The lowest.
It's the possible lowest.
Thanks.
Yeah. But hey, listen, Taryn and I, we've done a lot of research into the last couple weeks leading up to this episode. It's really exciting, but we can't do it by ourselves. We never can. We always need someone else to be here.
It's not right without
It's
someone
not
else.
right without a guest, goddammit. So that's why we've invited, I'm really excited about this. You might know him as a contributor over at Rolling Stone. He is the music editor over at Noise Trade. Guys, Will Hodge is in the studio
Will Hodge.
right now. Will!
So if I'm the guest on the Michael Jackson episode, am I Slash? Because he showed up a lot. I'll take Slash.
Yeah,
I
can
left
be
my
Slash.
top hat on the bus.
You could be Notorious B.I.G. because
There it
he
is.
keeps
Okay.
showing up.
I'll take it.
So guys,
Exactly.
listen, Michael Jackson, again, there is a lot to get through in terms of talking about his discography, so we're going to dive right into it. A lot of people know basically his standard discography, and let's just talk about it real quick. The ones that I think everyone is familiar with is his quote-unquote debut, Off the Wall in 1979, followed by Thriller in 82, we all probably heard of that one, the sequel to Thriller called Bad in 1987, the shittier sequel to Bad called Dangerous in 1991, the terribly, weirdly released His Story, Past, Present, and Future, Book 1 Saying the full title is just a mouthful. 1995. The last album released when he was alive. 2001's Invincible. The cash grab that is 2010's Michael. And the not as bad cash grab, Escape, from 2014. Those are a lot of albums. That's 8 albums, actually. But before Off the Wall, he had 4 other albums. He had albums that were part of the Motown machine. He didn't write a single song off of any of them, but you had Got to Be There in 1972. Another album that came out the same year, Ben, the in theory soundtrack to the movie of the same name. 1973's Music and Me. And then, of course, 1975's Teenage Worship album, Forever, Michael. So there's a couple other things right there, and we're going to get into qualifiers right now before we start gumping into the ranking. And before we get into the big issue of the Motown era albums, I want to talk about another couple of things on here. Going Off the Wall to Escape, I think, is a pretty good route. A lot of people might be like, well, what about Is This It? Well, guess what? That's a soundtrack for a movie where there's only one new song, so I don't think we're going to be...
This is not it.
This is not...
Definitely just not it.
Right.
Doesn't count. Blood on the Dance Floor.
His remix album.
A remix album.
Right.
Not gonna...
There's
not
5
gonna
songs
count
on there that are actually very fascinating. They're very interesting experiments,
and
I'd
I'd say 2 of them are worth listening to.
Yeah.
Right.
But, yeah, it's definitely... Blood on the Dance Floor was actually a pretty big hit, especially abroad, so it's worth mentioning.
Yeah, at the very least.
It's an also ran, but not part of the proper oeuvre.
Yeah, the oeuvre.
And I will only use the word oeuvre once, I promise.
Well, except
But
here's
you
the other
already
thing, though.
used it twice.
Exactly.
We're
out.
So this is like one of the things, Terry and I, we've had this debate, and with our guest Will Hodge, we've had a debate before he even showed up at the studio too, about the Motown albums here. Now, there's a couple things to say about it, because Will's argument is that it paints a very interesting portrait of this, basically this product of the Motown, teenage pop machine, who worked all this way out to become an independent genius and other things like that.
And I do agree with that argument. It does paint a very interesting picture. However, I can't tell them apart.
That's fair. Yeah, I'll totally give you that. And with some discussions that I have, I like to call the first 2 albums, because they were released in the same year, in 1972.
Yeah.
Ben,
There could have been one really good album called Got to Been There. Literally taken half of each and made a super solid album. But I do think that it's worth including in the discussion, because what we get to see is, although everyone talks about Michael's talent, which is otherworldly and unquestionable, I think it also shows his work ethic and his ability to sit at the feet of some real masters, so that when you do get to later albums like Off the Wall and all that, you get to see the progression, and not just that he dropped from another planet out of nowhere.
Right. And here's my counter argument to that, and I'm certainly more than willing to just have a discussion on it. I'm willing to talk about these things. I don't really want to put them in there because I don't think Michael would even necessarily count them as works of his oeuvre ultimately. Like Off the Wall is really when he took it. And in previous podcasts where we've had like Janet Jackson, she had her quote-unquote 2 pre-fame albums, when she's just part of the Jackson pop machine and just putting out stuff that sounded like a lot of other trends of the day. The thing is that was 2 albums. This is 4 albums, and if we did rank them, they would all be at the bottom of the list. I'm telling you that right now. Because they are just, it is pure product. Like, it is all immaculately produced. Out of the 4, I would say Got to Be There is the best one, because pint-sized Tiny Michael, he's in the studio on his own solo work, and he's singing the hell out of things. He's giving it there.
He still sounds really excited to be making that
because
record.
when you hear the Michael on Forever Michael at the very end of that, he sounds bored. He actually sounds bored while singing.
And occasionally he sounds more than bored. He sounds pissed. He sounds annoyed that he even has to record these songs in this voice that he's been the style of singing he's been doing since since 1969.
Right.
Like he left Motown the year after this was recorded, or released, either way.
Yeah.
And I think it really shows on the record, because if we are ranking them, it would be my pick for the lowest.
Yeah, definitely. I think that album is also you get to hear his struggle with getting older and his voice changing. I think if you listen closely, you can hear a wispy mustache growing as he's recording some of the tracks.
Well, and that's on Music and Me 1973 and Forever Michael. I can hear him. They're writing songs in the same keys that they've been doing the whole time, and you can hear him struggling to hit those notes. He's hitting them. You know, they used a take where he hits it, but it sounds like it hurts him almost sometimes. Because he's just singing too high for, at this point, he was like, and Forever Michael, I want to say he was 15?
Let's see, that was 75.
Yeah.
He was born in 58, so
so he was 17 already by that
17,
point?
yeah.
So that's like,
P.
you can tell he's over it.
Right, and I think that he was still caught, because what we have with Off the Wall is, okay, listen, even though I'm still going to do some things with my brothers, like, I am my own entity separate, and I think with those 4 Motown albums, you have producers who are trying so hard to make sure there's not overlap that you can tell he is kind of going back to the being angry thing, shackled by the thing of like, well, we don't want to make it too funky or too soulful. There's a lot of acoustic
we
guitar,
have a formula.
a lot of ballads,
It works.
There's,
Trust
right,
us.
and the thing is, he loves ballads.
Right.
And he continues
Obsessively
to write them throughout his career, but the ballads that they give him in these early stages, Got to Be There is really the only one that stands out on its own, like on its songwriting merit.
Also, and even though I like Got to Be There as an album, because it's also part of the Motown machine and because they had a formula, so much fucking harpsichord. I can't fucking believe oh my god, every other song has it, and it is just enough. And listen, and it's one of the things where, like, my vote is to not include the first 4 albums. I'm certainly willing to entertain a discussion on, because there are still some really fun moments on there. Dapper Dan is off of Forever Michael, which I really like. It's actually a really, really funky little song. Just kind of goofy. Taryn is not as big a fan.
I do. It is funny to hear. Okay, so like the Got to Be There starts off with covering Bill Withers' "Ain't No Sunshine When She's Gone," and when you have a 12-year-old who is able to channel and not sound like a 12-year-old singing that song, it's kind of impressive.
It is impressive. No, that take is definitely. I mean, that's one of the best things on there.
Right.
And that's even besides, like, obviously the Bill Withers version is like a fucking classic. It's nigh flawless.
Yeah.
He really does pull it off, and he gives some gravitas in this little, boy voice. But then on the same album you have, to be frank, and part of it's probably just because I've heard it my whole life, I'm so fucking sick of Rockin' Robin. I'm so over it.
And then on the next album, he did the similarly sounding Shooby Dooby Doo Da Day.
That's a Stevie Wonder cover.
Yeah.
Which is that's
you gotta have
crazy
Motown covers on the Motown album.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. Also, I kind of like his rendition of "My Girl" off of Ben. Actually, there's a lot of there's a lot of opulence and a lot of orchestration that make it doesn't sound like.
That's actually like the only thing I like on Ben. That's the only thing
I don't even like Ben. No, you're right.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, so I was going to ask
Ben,
about Ben as far as when you have.
Also, greatest show on earth. Fuck me.
Yeah.
Jeez, come on.
Well, with Ben, when you have little kid Michael, starting when he's like 7 or 8, you always see him in these like Technicolor outfits, dancing, all this kind of stuff. To hear him nail that ballad that's very much acoustic and quiet and tender about a rat. You hear
and that got nominated for an Oscar,
right?
Yeah.
You hear there's a certain like I've been really wanting to not use the word tenderness as we go through this podcast, but there's something in his voice that I think he returns to that is really, really impressive about the way he channels emotion that I think is evident on Ben for both of those albums. It's kind of impressive.
I think that I can agree with you and say that he channels emotion incredibly well in that song. That does not make it a
very
good
diplomatic
song.
Okay, yeah.
It just because don't get me wrong. If I can dig a ballad, and there are some ballads later in his career where I'm like, this is so sappy, but I love it so much right now.
It's the most impressive use of pronouns in a bridge as well.
Well, okay, now we need to talk about one other thing though, and because normally at the start of every Happy Hour minisode, we usually start with what is the worst Michael Jackson song, and I'm gonna spoil it for you right now. The worst Michael Jackson song, aside from "Don't Stop Till You Get Enough," is any song where he's talking at the start of it, like time and time again.
In the
Girl,
at the start or in the middle of it.
I don't give a fuck. Whenever he's talking in the middle of a song.
When he's talking, you're like, oh right, that's how you sound. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll save mine, but the one that we'll get into one later that is every time I hear it, I'll start reaching for the plastic bag to put over my head and
Oh,
tighten,
wow.
'cause it is,
Wow.
it's the worst. So, but I will say one more thing about the Motown ones that I think is impressive.
Okay.
And once again, this is more about a bigger issue because the song just by itself in a vacuum is not super that great. But In Our Small Way shows up on both his first two albums.
Right, yeah.
And in that, you get to hear some of the stuff that he comes at later, which is like, We Are the World or Earth Song. Some of those things that a lot of people will say like, oh, this is tried or trendy. I think we see a genuine like humanitarian spirit in him from a young age that I think adds legitimacy to things that happen later in life that sometimes people poo-poo kind of quickly, you know.
Yeah.
So I may come back to that one when we talk about future albums
Yeah.
as just a little touch point of saying like that brings some authenticity to some of the other stuff he did later.
So, but
that's it.
for the sake of argument, I think, and listen, it's 2-3, 2-1. So I think Taryn and I are gonna just do our thing of outvoting, and I'm gonna be outvoted later. I'm okay with that. I've not played those albums, but before we leave that section, it's the Will Hodge corner of the podcast. Welcome to Hodge's corner.
Exactly.
Will, what would you be your ranking 1 through 4 of the Motown albums?
Worst, definitely Forever Michael, then Music and Me, and then like I said, Ben and Got to Be There are pretty much neck and neck as you have one really good album split over two albums that were released 8 months apart.
Yeah.
So that would be what and if anybody's just going to listen to one, definitely Got to Be There, listen to that.
All right. Well, now that that's out of the way, then thank you for that. But now we are down to, at this point, we are now down to 8 other albums. Off the Wall, Thriller, Bad, Dangerous, History, Invincible, Michael, and Escape. Woo! Guys, we're going to get into it. We're going to rank Michael Jackson's albums. So listen, we're about to start off. We have a special guest here in the studio, Will Hodge. What would you say is the worst Michael Jackson album?
Okay. So since we haven't talked about this, I don't know if this is going to be a popular or if you guys are
I have no idea where any of this is going to
behead
go.
me. But just like I combine Got to Be There and Ben together in my mind, there are 2 of his albums that I do not like, and it's Escape and Michael. The 2 posthumous albums, I literally combine and put at the bottom.
Okay, now I understand that impulse, and I'm gonna half agree with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think Taryn and I can.
I think we can all agree. I think the world can agree that if we're including
And we
the
are the
posthumous
world,
album,
so.
right? We are the world, and so if we're including the posthumous albums, Michael is number
the
8.
worst, and
Right.
there's a reason why. And here's the thing: I hate Will.i.am. I really do. But he said the only time he's ever said anything smart, aside from A of Spades, the only time he's ever said anything smart is when he talked about Michael, when he talked about, I think it was like even like before it's released or like very shortly after, he says like, yeah, like, I mean, he worked on it. Michael wanted to work with him. And he's just like, I don't think they should have released it. Because as he notes, Michael was a perfectionist. For those who saw the This Is It documentary, there's the part where he's really grilling the pianist for his song, where it's just like, no, he's just gonna have this kind of like get out of bed kind of like thing. Like he's not playing piano, but he has like this exact idea of like that vibe that you need to get that's kind of writing behind it. And Will.i.am says that album should have been released, and it absolutely feels like here's a bunch of shit Michael recorded that we decided to finish for him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like 100%.
It feels like if you guys heard a few years back, this may be the first Norah Jones reference in a Michael Jackson podcast, but Norah Jones put out that featuring album where she had guested on so many albums. If you were to just listen to that, you'd be like, man, this album is all over the place. I hear her voice in every song, but it's because it's like what
the hook
she's
girl.
added
Yeah.
to everything else. And that's how I feel about these, is it should have been like called L.A. Reid's album or Rodney Jerkins' album or something featuring Michael Jackson. Like, do not frame this, and I'll try not to be the guy that's like super protective of Michael's legacy, but like those can't be framed as Michael Jackson albums, except for the deluxe edition of Escape that has the second disc of these are the demos of what we started from, and then you're like, oh, I'll take that. Give me Michael Jackson singing a Paul Anka song,
Well, listen, we're gonna get into Escape in a bit here.
Okay,
That's what I'm not saying about that. But here's the thing, like everything, like, well, because your Emblick example number 1, the lead single from that, "Hold My Hand," the song with Akon.
That is an Akon song.
That Michael sings
That
on.
sounds like like 2007.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like 2007 in a little box, and it happens to have Michael Jackson's vocals on it.
And if you're
I
going to
think
cover Hootie and the Blowfish, pick a better song.
that's and that's also the other another huge problem with Michael was people may remember from the time members of his family questioned the validity of his vocals on a couple tracks, and that's
amazing.
I don't disagree.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
especially when you hear like some of his demos where he literally hasn't finished the lyrics yet. We were talking about this before we were on mic, where like there's a song from one of his box sets where he's just like da 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 and she da 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 da
in the back off of the Michael Jackson.
and
box
it's
set
like
that came out
right
in
that's how he
2004,
writes songs, and so I totally believe that like the production was mostly done on these and the melody was done on Monster, but they didn't have lyrics,
Right.
so they faked it and
and the thing is, like,
mixed his voice with someone else,
right, and
like,
the thing is, we're not
mostly
here to
sounds like
necessarily
him.
spread conspiracy theories, but it does speak to something about Michael and about his worst albums, is that I would say there are albums that very much have a Michael Jackson sound to them. And then there are albums that sounds like Michael Jackson's trying to sound like someone else.
Right.
I think Invincible runs into this problem because it does not sound like a Michael Jackson album. It sounds like some sort of trend-chasing, sort of like exuberant, whatever the fuck
Honestly,
it is.
to me, it sounds like a Janet album.
That,
Oh, okay.
Unbreakable?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
sorry,
Invincible
yes,
sounds like a Janet album. It sounds like
Full
what she had
Yeah.
been doing
Like
in the
in
90s.
that era, yeah.
And then he was like, oh yeah, I want to try that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's
and-
a fantastic point you're making. And I, not that we can jump to Invincible yet, but to just tag your point of what you're saying, is it one of the things about Michael Jackson is every album feels like he is ahead of the curve on what he's doing.
Yeah.
And Invincible really, really does struggle from being like, oh wait, this is what's popular, so I need to try to get there, and that's not the Michael that that everybody.
If you're Michael Jackson, you do not have Tyrese co-write a song for your album. Okay, that's just not
Or
something that you
Babyface.
do.
Right? Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
right.
Yeah, especially in 2001, you're like,
Well, because
come
like
on.
he felt very confident on Dangerous, and we can argue about the validity of Dangerous, but unlike say like Thriller, where like he wrote like what, a third, like half the songs on there, or like co-writes, and Dangerous he writes practically everything,
Right.
practically everything. And here, like on these other albums, just everyone's jumping in and writing other songs basically, or collaborating or whatever.
Well, yeah,
like,
on Invincible, I don't think there's like maybe 2 songs that don't have a co-writer.
Yeah.
Right,
or
right.
3 or 7.
Yeah, that's the
you know?
that's the point about Michael and Escape that's so crazy. When you look at the lyrics and you look at how many producers, how many songwriters, even how many session musicians, because you're talking about the sound. A lot of these Michael Jackson records, you have a lot of the same players playing on every one, and that's a sure sign that like there was not a guiding light that everybody was working to. It's like a mixtape that just happens to have like some of the same singers on it, kind of thing.
Yeah, but it's almost like everyone here is here to talk about Michael Jackson.
So that's I don't.
Breaking news.
You
guys.
said that
Terrible
about
song.
Escape, right?
It's shitty as fuck.
Say what?
That
yeah,
is-
Escape and Michael.
So
Bublé,
that's
yeah.
I don't disagree. It is kind of a bit of a mixtape. To me, I almost take Escape more as like it's like a B-sides remix album.
Because the
Like-
songs on Escape were actually from a lot of other eras.
From his whole
Right,
career.
sure.
Like
Yeah.
they spanned from the Thriller sessions through the Invincible sessions, and even I think there's 1 or 2 that were after that.
Right.
And so
And there's some of that on Michael too, but also that was like Michael was working on an album, he didn't finish it. Let's try it.
right, that's
Right, yeah.
Michael. Well, I think there's 1 song on Michael that was from earlier, and the rest of them were all like 07 through 09.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's you can really you feel it's very of the era.
Yeah.
All of the production
Extremely,
on it,
yeah.
and you can definitely tell that there are decisions on Michael where you're like, he never would have done that.
Absolutely.
I
not.
will-
He never ever would have done
There,
that.
and listen, I'm happy to bury Michael at number 8. I don't have a problem with that. But I will say, it's not even a great song, but I like the way You Love Me.
Oh, best song on there.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah. I like the way you love me. Like, it just has
Whoa,
this wonderful
did
little
Michael just
intro.
walk in?
Oh my
Or-
god. Yeah. Like the
Was
Ghost of
that
Michael
you?
Jackson.
Yeah, Wait, he came back. Oh my god, guys.
Alright, cool. So, that's literally the only song you can take out of that piece of shit. Alright, so anyway, Michael, number 8 on our list. So that being said, Taryn, what would you nominate for not as bad, slightly better than Michael? I have a feeling. I have a real strong feeling. Taryn's might be extremely controversial. I am warning you right now.
It's not. No,
Okay.
no, I'm not gonna do something controversial. because
It's torn.
I think it's got to be Invincible for me. It's got to be Invincible because for me, Invincible, like we were just saying,
Right.
it really sounds, again, it sounds very of the era. It doesn't sound like Michael Jackson doing his innovative thing. He sounds like he's taking the sound of 90s pop and 90s modern R&B, and he's just rolling with that.
And here's the other...
And I think that he does that incredibly well on a few of the tracks. Like, I actually really like You Rock My World.
Right,
I think it has a really fun groove. It doesn't have the same, like, gut-punching drive that his other, like, massive singles had. But it's like, yeah, this is a really solid Michael Jackson track. I think that's where he sounds most like himself. And then I actually also really like Butterflies. I think I would like it more if Janet was performing it.
Oh my God, you're right. Yes,
It's totally
actually.
like Butterflies is in Janet's wheelhouse.
Yeah, that slow horn descend.
That slow horn descend and all of those like silky multi-tracked vocals.
Yeah.
And that's like where the positives stop.
I mean, like, whatever happens, the Carlos Santana thing is
That's what I was about to say.
fine.
You timestamp yourself to 2000, 2001 if you're like, hey, Supernatural.
that was an album, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
If Rob Thomas is not available,
Yeah, exactly.
you go get
But like literally, and talking about worst songs ever, Heartbreaker I still fucking hate, like with a passion. But 2000 Watts is in a special
2000
category of
watts.
bad.
Speaking of songs that don't sound like Michael.
Because
Right,
he's legit
right.
trying to sing in a different
For
tenor
sure.
than he's
Well,
ever.
right.
Yeah.
It's the melody is in a baritone range, which he never writes in. He's always high tenor. And I even feel like he's putting on like
affected.
No, he doesn't. He's not even doing the Michael thing on it. He's
Right,
doing
right.
like a from the hood like black 90s
Sure.
like vocalist.
He's chasing. and
He's chasing,
right,
exactly.
right.
Yeah.
He's looking for
he's
something-
emulating
exactly
a different scene that he has not been a part of. And so it
Exactly,
feels
yeah.
like especially disingenuine.
He's trying on something that's already been done as opposed to like, this is something that people haven't seen, people haven't heard. And that just, it doesn't really, it just doesn't translate well. Like Invincible, like when you get done with the Motown stuff and the posthumous stuff, like Invincible definitely kind of hits that like, oh yeah, you are definitely not at the place that you have been, even though you brought Slash back
Right.
for the fourth time.
But also, also Notorious B.I.G. again. But also, Invincible, Dangerous, and History are also run into a difficult era, a different issue, and it's very odd for Invincible, but especially with Dangerous and History, I can understand a little bit. They came out in the CD era. They came out in the 90s, and when there's a lot of problems a lot of artists ran into, like, instead of trying to fit 60 minutes roughly onto two sides of a vinyl, it's more of like, guys, we have like 72 minutes we can do things in, so why not fill it up? People want songs. We're just gonna fill it up.
It's just
And
wasted space if you don't
It
put
literally
something
is. So
on it.
that's why, like, I literally don't even remember what The Lost Children or Threatened sound like, and I've listened to the sound multiple times.
You
last
should
week.
don't remind yourself about
Right, yeah.
about
You should Men
especially
in Black Flash
leave it
yourself.
especially the
Yeah.
Lost Children.
Yeah.
Leave them.
Ooh, that's not even hot garbage.
Yeah.
That is like
The flaming.
that is like middle of January frozen garbage. Like
Yeah.
that is just god awful. It's so fucking saccharine. And that's I got like mildly annoyed when we were doing Janet with her like social message stuff. I am so over anytime a Michael like Heal the World or
In our small world, guys, I'm telling you, this will be the first time I go back to it.
every time
It's at least I feel like some of that, or at least I'll say the majority, not all of it, but I think the majority of it comes from a genuine place that can very quickly become overblown when you have the biggest star. Like he doesn't know. There's definitely a point where he crossed the point of being able to do anything subtle.
right.
So
Yeah, no. Yeah, I like that point. I
I-
also kind of like Break of Dawn a little bit, not too much. Like it's just
Yeah.
nice. It's passable.
It, the production saves it.
Yeah.
For sure.
You just like Jedi mind trick me with your hand. The production.
No, I was waving at the song as a whole.
Right.
Goodbye.
wax off. Anyway,
Yeah, exactly.
Guys, our Facebook Live
but
feed, it does exist.
when
it's
he
great.
and then it reaches his peak. Even though this song was written, I think, for Thriller, or it may be Bad. Do You Know Where Your Children Are? Off of Escape.
Weird.
It's really weird, and it comes from a place where you're like, you have no idea what this feels like.
Right.
You know? And that's what the Lost Children feels like too. It's like you're singing a song wishing lost children well and wishing them home.
Yeah,
It's like instead of it's in a very like optimistic chord structure, and you're almost like, anyone who has lost a child that listens to this is gonna be like,
that's true.
it's like it's almost like really insensitive.
Yeah.
Like
I
it's like
completely
he's
agree,
like, oh, the kids are gone, and like the parents are like, yeah, it's fucking awful.
Right,
Why
exactly.
are you like?
Thank you for your 3.5 minute pop song about it.
Right.
This is my life.
It's kind of like when Phil Collins
Right.
was writing songs, Another Day in Paradise, a song about being homeless. I'm like, thank you, rich British multimillionaire, for writing a song about the plight of the homeless.
Exactly, because there's also a point where even if you're wanting to
African
write
child,
some
basically.
sort of like altruistic or humanitarian type song, there's a very fine line between here's a genuine thing that's coming out of me that I'm wanting to share, and then here's a distortion of that that's a very like judgmental, like how dare you or how could you, or are you thinking about this, and you're like, whoa, that's when it turns into like the weird, like Jesus complex and kind of like, I'm going to talk about the bigger things in a pop song.
Well, he
area.
literally has a Jesus complex.
Are you sure?
yeah.
The guy that...
So,
dresses-
I thought we were going to say this with this Happy Hour mini-so, but man, one of the things, when it came into Research Week, clearly, it's Michael Jackson. There's a lot to cull
There's
from.
so much.
Karen and I, we're going to talk about Captain Neo in the Happy Hour mini-so. I'm telling you that right now.
Okay, then I'll hold everything for that.
Yeah, calm down there, Hooter.
All right.
But the other thing is that I showed him, because I remember hearing about this and I never saw it, but there's a clip from the 1996 Brit Awards where he shows up and he does this 10-minute fucking rendition of Earth Song.
Which, fun fact, his highest charting single in the UK.
Right.
Which is
right.
insane to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Besides, I think
Or best-selling. I mean,
Beat It.
yeah.
No, yeah, it was his best-selling
He
at
had
the
a lot
time.
of other number ones, yeah.
But yeah, it sold like 3 million copies within the first 2
Right.
weeks or something like that.
But
like,
so he goes up on stage and he's doing this Michael thing. There's a lot of like Dickensian, people in costumes strewn about looking poor and whatever. Jarvis Cocker of the band Pulp, he's a little drunk, and so he just gets it like, what the fuck is this? So he goes up on stage, he's like putting his fingers behind his butt and waving at the audience, and he's like lifting up his shirt, and he's like jumping in front of the moon set, and like he gets pulled off, and it's because he's like, they're doing some Jesus shit. I didn't like it. And then security brought him off the stage because you do not fuck with Michael Jackson.
Right.
Like, they held him backstage.
and then after he had already been like, hey, he's doing this Jesus shit, Michael literally takes off his black outfit and is wearing all white underneath and stands with his arms outstretched center stage as the Dickensian dressed extras feel for his stigmata.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not. It is the least subtle thing,
Yeah.
and it made me want to punch him.
He's hugging people. He's kissing the rabbi on the forehead.
Yeah, they're the rabbis.
Yeah.
That's the point. That's the point where you cross over from being like, I get especially in the '90s, you want to do an environmental song, more power to you. That
Great.
There were people doing that, and I do believe that it started. Again, we'll go back to it started from a genuine place that once it goes through that Michael Jackson filter, it can skew multiple different ways. And this one skewed very yeah, guys, I'm gonna have all white underneath my clothes, and I'm gonna change. And the fact that
I think that he also after We Are the World was as insanely successful as it was, he kind of took that as permission to take this thing as far as he wanted.
Right.
Because it definitely when it starts,
Humanity spokesman.
when his humanity spokesman side begins, you're like, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
and then
Right.
it just gets worse and worse
Well,
as
so-
the career goes
Yeah.
on.
So in this week that you guys have been researching, did you come across or remember his '93 Super Bowl appearance.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah, we watched it.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Okay. So that
By the
one-
way, if you can watch it online too, a lot of it is him standing.
yeah, I know. What's up with? I think at one point you even see his band behind him. Like, is he gonna start? Like, what is going on here?
Well, so that's something that he. Speaking of things that got worse and worse as his career went
You're
along.
gonna get back to the ranking, guys. I assure you.
They love it. Speaking of things that got worse and worse as his career went along, the breaks. Because it started with "She's Out of My Life."
Oh my god!
Absolutely.
It started
Before doing it live, doing it
in
live.
1979.
You gotta work those
doing it
tears,
live.
yeah.
He would like at the very very end of the song. He sung the whole thing. He'd go, "She's out of my," and then just like hold back tears and pace the stage for like 2 minutes, and then go.
And the crowd would go, yeah!
And they're screaming. They are screaming, and then he just goes. And that's the end.
Oh my
And so then we started watching
Wembley.
the
Bad tour.
Wembley
Yeah,
Bad
gotcha.
Tour
Okay,
performance. That did that come with the Bad 25?
Yeah.
Okay. We started watching that at like 10:30, so I started like falling asleep halfway through. Not because it wasn't entertaining, just because it was late. But he, in the middle of any song, he would just stop. He'd like hit a pose. The band would do a hit, and he would just hold that pose for, 15 to 30 seconds.
Right.
And let the audience scream, and then he would keep performing that song.
Right.
And so that's like, so that was in Bad era, and it was already like, it was constant. It was in, if not every song, at least every other song. There was a significant break in the middle. And so of course by the time it's 93 and
Right,
he's
right.
at the fucking Super Bowl, he
Yeah.
pops up on stage and he's just like, I'm gonna milk this. I'm not even gonna
Yeah,
move.
it
Also, the
definitely
only time
feels-
that a halftime performer has actually done better in the ratings than the actual Super Bowl game around it. So
I will tell you though, it is still impressive. I'm not sure that in today's day and age, when they handed out the smaller versions of the kids drawing in the whole stadium,
Yeah.
of course you can pick out like the cynical people who are like, I'm not raising my,
Yeah.
placard or whatever. But for the most part, I mean, you're talking easy 95, 96% of that stadium held up their sign at the right time, doing
Yeah.
the wave, and you're like, okay, the whole stadium is somewhat believing in this, like, okay, heal the world, make it a better place. There's a part of it that you do feel a genuine sense of like part of a bigger part of humanity, but to your point, it starts off with completely self-indulgent. How long can I stand here on national TV before I even start the first song?
yeah, and it's nowhere near
And
as
that's
good.
100% just him.
It's nowhere near as good as when Coldplay did the Super Bowl and they ended it by everyone holding up a placard saying "Believe in Love," And the thing is, I didn't believe in love before then, but then Coldplay did that performance, and I started to believe in love. It was so good.
And thank God, believing in love totally saved us.
I know.
Thanks, Coldplay.
Yeah, thanks for saving the world, Coldplay. Long story short, number 7, Invincible. Can we lock that in? Can we do that?
I think we can.
And the reason why I want to lock it in too is because Mr. Hodge over here with his cap, he also came in. He also got to talk about how Michael and Escape are kind of inseparable in his mind, and I pushed back on that notion actually.
Totally disagree.
Because actually, Escape, like, I mean, the thing is, when you're pulling from songs from a lot of different eras, instead of just like, here's a lot of posthumous shit that we had on our hands, you can actually pull some good-ass songs that never saw the light of day,
And
not even on that Essential Michael Jackson box set.
I began to touch on that earlier when we mentioned Escape, and to me, Michael is the, like, we had these songs that he was recording during the last couple of years, let's slap them together and put his name on it.
Yeah.
Escape feels like people who truly loved and respected Michael took their time going through his back catalog, and they picked... I appreciate that it's so short. They picked eight songs
Right,
that they thought deserved to see the light of day.
And they were from different eras too, so it wasn't even like super heavy on one
Right.
or the other. It was very
Exactly.
balanced.
But also, I don't care how you quantify it. Love Never Felt So Good. His second Paul Anka co-write after fucking This Is It. Love Never Felt So Good. I'm still amazed, even though that album came out in 2014, that hasn't gone down as an iconic Michael song. Because it is so fucking good.
And I think, so I
Fuck that
definitely...
Timberlake version too, by the way.
Fuck the Timberlake version. I honestly think that was a big mistake and part of why it didn't get as much attention as it
Yeah.
did, even though I mean it charted.
It went.
did
It
really
was
well.
his top 10. It was a top 10, which meant Michael had a top 10 single in every decade for 5 decades.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Well,
So,
and on
yeah.
the deluxe version, there are 3 versions of that song because
Right.
you have the demo, which
Yeah.
is just
Which
him
is
and a piano.
the best version
Absolutely.
by so
Right. Absolutely.
so much.
And he was recording that as a demo for Johnny Mathis to sing. Imagine your demo that you get handed is here's Michael Jackson's scratch track version for you to see if you want to do this song. Michael Jackson doing a Paul Anka written song to see if Johnny Mathis wants to sing it.
That's-
Like
The
How does this even
understanding
happen?
I had of it was not that it wasn't just Paul Anka. Like Paul Anka wrote the
Oh,
song
okay.
and the piano
Yeah,
part.
gotcha,
And
okay.
then Michael added the lyrics and reworked
gotcha.
the melody.
oh, okay.
So it's a co-write
that
between
makes
the two of them.
Okay, I got you. Yeah.
If you're listening right now, look up the demo of "Love Never Felt So Good."
Mm-hmm.
It is one of the greatest
It's-
songs we're going to talk about today, and we're talking about Michael Jackson. I'm aware of what I'm
Right,
saying.
right.
It is one of the best songs we're talking about
Yeah,
today.
I've
It's
listened
that
to
good.
that demo a lot.
But
Not just before this research week. I think I was reading some best of 2014 list, and they were
Right.
the demo of Love Never Felt So Good.
But
is
on
one
top
of the best
of it,
songs
though,
of the year.
Right.
like pushing back a little bit against Will's point here, I would also argue that some of the modern production versions of Escape are actually pretty good.
And
Not
improvements.
Yeah,
on
like
the
especially
demos.
the biggest one for me is "Loving You." Loving you.
Speaking of songs that feel like Janet,
right.
they definitely it was a little bit there on the demo version, but they really smoothed out those harmony vocals on the modern production, and they added that rapid fire subdivision drum beat
Right,
during the
right,
chorus.
yeah. Right.
And all those horn hits I love because especially if you're listening to Dangerous in History, he loved that orchestra hit button. He absolutely loved
Yeah,
that, and so
Fucking hate
and
it.
it's terrible. It sounds so cheesy most of the time that he
Sure,
uses it.
sure.
But here they took that concept, but they recorded it with real horns.
Right.
And so I think Loving You is definitely a standout on Escape. I also really like the modern production on Chicago.
They thought that was going to be the first single, because Timbaland did that, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
And honestly,
I think he thought it was going to be the first single.
as
too.
far as demo versions, if they had just put out the demo version of Chicago, I would have been totally fine with that. But I think
sure.
the modern production, they don't do too much more with it. They just sort of sleek it out, which is what producers are there to do.
Right.
So it really still feels like that's why I definitely, because they had that deluxe edition with the demos on it, I have a lot more respect for Escape.
Yeah.
I completely agree with that, and I think that my part comes in where I feel like that
You're fucking
I would
with Michael's
almost
legacy.
even because there's a reason that these songs have been sitting around and that he never released them because they weren't in a format that he was cool with. So to put that
Okay.
out as saying here's a Michael Jackson record again, even if it's just the framing, here's a Michael Jackson record. It's pretty tough.
I get that, and yet at the same time, we are the Chartographers, and one of the things about us, we are listening to these albums now in 2017, and we're kind of listening to them as is. We're just kind of accepting it as, I'm not. It's hard sometimes with the art of the law there that we cover because they have such detailed legacies and narratives and stories. But also, mainly, the big thing about it is that we're just kind of determining, and honestly, Escape, I didn't really give a lot of consideration to. It's just kind of an kind of thing. But
I even put off listening to it.
But
because
it
wasn't
honestly
excited.
surprised me. Now I'm not saying it's gonna topple Thriller off the wall. It's not gonna join that echelon anytime soon. But it's pretty good up to the point where controversially, Evan Sadi at number 6 is going to nominate History.
Okay. So tell me again what's below it. We've got Invincible.
Okay, we got
Escape and
Invincible. We got
right?
Michael. Exactly.
I'm sorry, it goes the other way. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Michael at number 8. Yeah,
we haven't
Invincible.
locked in Escape yet.
Yeah, nothing. Escape hasn't been locked in yet.
Okay.
I'm throwing in because Escape has 8 songs. Because even a song at Blue Gangsta, which I wouldn't even necessarily call a great song, but it's at least fascinating.
But it's not a great song,
Again,
but
one
it
of my
kept
dancer names.
getting stuck in my head.
Yeah.
Now that I'm the Blue Gangsta.
And Will's like, oh, that's rough.
Oh my god. See, but here, that being said, his story.
Yeah.
Now, first off, for those who aren't familiar, when Michael put this album out in 1995, also, where's Book 2? 1.
Right.
The other question, though, is that because he had so much power and so much clout, he could do whatever the fuck he wanted. So what he did with his story, it's a 2-disc set, actually. And the first disc is a greatest hits, a 15-track greatest hits compilation. And if you're a fan of Michael Jackson, or even a casual fan, you probably have a lot of greatest hits. But then the second disc is the new album. So it was actually a really shitty and cheap way to include bonus sales, because you gotta keep in mind, record industry, whenever you sell an album, if it's a multi-disc album, it counts each disc sold as an album. So as such, that's why one of the platinum albums last year was of 2016 was this Mozart box set, this 200 disc box set that was sold to like some 5,000 whatever people, and since each one was a counted unit, like it added up to like over 1 million units was sold. So like Mozart had a platinum album in 2016, which is amazing. But yeah, the thing is that here's the problem where I feel like less so with Dangerous, more so with this, because like between Dangerous and Invincible, history absolutely belongs. It is that fine line of like, there are some shitty songs on here.
Yeah,
they're really
it's
bad.
rough.
But the problem is that they're also anchored and buoyed by, I would argue, not even some, like a couple of the best songs that he's ever done in his entire career. And so there's that dichotomy there. Like, Escape doesn't run into that problem. I'm not saying Escape's going to go much higher than this, but I do, when I think about just terms of overall pleasure listening, I put Escape probably a little bit higher than History, because it's not as bloated, and this is bloated as fuck. So
I handcuffed those two beside each other, but I flipped that. Because I agree with all those points, except for I think that as a Michael album, and I almost give him a little more credit because post child molestation charges, that greatest hits album was more than just this will help sales. It's more of like, hey guys, remember me? Like, you know what I'm saying?
You're like Michael, right?
Exactly. Like there's a part of image course correcting and shaping that's going on. But it's also attached to a very, very, I think he knew, you listen to History, that is an angry Michael Jackson. You know what I'm saying? So there's a part of,
it opens with Scream, the Janet Jackson duet. It's explicitly talking about the child molestation charges.
Right.
And
Thank you, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis.
Thank you, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis.
How do you guys feel about that song? Is Scream not like one of the best?
I was just like, because there's kind of the underlying, like, a lot of people talk about how that song sucks. There's kind of a lot of people that say that. I would say that I enjoy the song. I don't love it. I do enjoy it though.
I love it.
Okay, good.
I totally love it.
Yes.
And it does help. I think I was in like a jazz dance to that song when I was 8 or something.
Gotcha.
So I have like a lot of memories with it. But even outside of that, I think Scream is like a really solid, especially because he goes so angry, and I love how he uses the like glass shattering as like part of the drum beat. And like the scream is so utterly Michael, but it's a new twist on his.
Absolutely, a visceral, one of the most like.
And I love that
manly,
that's the first sound you hear him make on this record.
Right. And
is
the last,
him just fucking screaming.
Right. And so the song that ends the first disc of the greatest hits is Earth Song, right? Isn't
No,
it?
that's on this.
I'm sorry, not Earth Song. Heal the World.
Oh.
Right? Is that whatever it is? If you listen, if you're not having to actually change the discs, if you listen to both of those back to back, like on your iPod, it's the most hilarious juxtaposition of two songs right after each other, where you have a very tender Michael to that scream being like, oh my god, like this guy talking back about like how he can capture emotion and channel it. There is so much in just that, and like you're saying, a new sound that you're just like, oh wow, we are about to get a new side, which is something you look for with every single Michael record. It's something new.
But the thing is, whatever you say about Scream, the second track on this album is They Don't Care About Us. And I've always liked that song. And something about Research Week just made me dive into it. I'm like, fuck. Like, this is like, nothing that he's ever done before or after.
Right.
It's an incredible pop moment. I'm so glad he put it out as a single because it was just like stabbing and punching, and there's that part in the production when it gets really loud for some reason.
Well, and speaking of like
anger,
he's clearly furious at this point, and it's also, I'm not gonna say that he did this on purpose, because I think that's a little too cynical. But speaking of course correcting, it's reasserting that like I don't care what I look like, I'm a black man.
Right.
You know, and like he's going to like, I'm still a black man, and I am one of the most famous people in the world. I'm going to make sure I use my
absolutely
station, except that he, like, I know that that's not the whole reason he did it, because it wouldn't be as good of a song as it is if it was. Like he definitely is pulling from such a real visceral place. Like even in his station he still feels this. By this point in his career, when he's releasing They Don't Care About Us, he's kind of untouchable.
Right.
But when you think about like going back to Off the Wall, he released like one of the most commercially successful albums of that year, if not the most. I don't remember exactly, but he like and he was not nominated even for Album of the Year. Yeah. He was nominated for R&B Album of the Year and was presented with that award before the broadcast started.
Right, yeah,
and
before
so
the broadcast.
and it was absolutely a race thing. And so that's part of what drove him to make Thriller as huge and as like
he was not satisfied with
he
the
was
success
going
of
to right. It sold 20 million copies and he wasn't satisfied.
Right.
Like so when he was going into Thriller, he was like I am obsessed with perfection. I am going to make the best pop album that has ever been seen, and I am going to make them give me Album of the Year on television.
Yeah, right. It's very Kanye-esque sounding there, of talking about people who are disciples of the Michael Jackson template.
Yeah,
legit. But, but going back to a little bit point though, because that being said, I would agree that it's all fascinating. That's all very much rooted in a lot in there. But history, unlike Escape. Which Escape has questionable songs, like Slave to the Rhythm is fine. It doesn't have any like outright bad songs.
I would say that Do You Know Where Your Children Are?
Okay, never mind. I'm sorry, I apologize. Right. I literally keep forgetting about it because I hate it so much. But DS.
Yeah. If there's ever
Little Susie.
Yeah.
Little Susie. Oh,
I can't believe you're not covering your eyes for DS.
Too bad.
Okay, I actually don't hate Too Bad.
Right.
Or Shaq being on
it. Is it great? No.
Oof,
but I can dig some Too Bad.
Tabloid junkie.
No, History is saccharine and terrible and just absolutely cheesy. No, Little Susie is speaking of in the vein of like all the lost children and like you don't even I don't what? That song is about, it's literally about, like, a little girl who, like, I think she fell and hit her head and died.
Yeah.
And she was homeless, and isn't that so sad?
Yeah.
And it's just like...
Which most time when people die, that's sad enough. They don't
well,
have to
right.
Yeah, dying sucks,
but
guys.
It also has, like, a minute and a half of just, like, ambient synth noise to start it off, and then it's
that's
like...
That's the sonic version of him just standing there visually.
Yeah.
Right. And after that... After all of that anticipation, he gives you, like, the worst ballad he's ever recorded, including the Motown years. Like...
but I mean, and also Come Together, let's be real.
Oh, my gosh. Okay.
Speaking of things that didn't need to happen...
Why did that not get stuck on a B-side of just like, sure, we'll record that for you, and...
Well, also, can we talk about... Oh, my God, I just realized this right now. Can we talk about how, because he bought this songwriting catalog from the Beatles, what a fuck you to Paul McCartney that was.
Exactly.
Like, I have your song now, bitch. Like, that is literally what he's doing. Because, listen, he was also a shrewd businessman, too.
Yeah.
Like, at one point, his royalty rate for every album sold was 37%. No artist before or after has ever gotten a record deal that has 37% going back to the artist. That is amazing.
Yeah.
But he's Michael Jackson. He can do that.
Yeah. And let me tell you, the record label still made a lot of money.
That is not a problem on their end. Right.
I'm all about Beatles covers, but that... Man, him, and we'll get into it with some of his other songs, but it's not good. It's not good.
He doesn't add anything new to it.
Absolutely not.
And it has that production.
He doesn't add anything new to it and he also produced it in the 90s.
Yeah.
Like, it suffers from so much.
Yeah.
And
Right,
it just,
right.
it was a very poor choice.
I think that almost half of that album does, because when you mentioned DS, like, that song is, from an artistic perspective, you're like, okay, you definitely needed to get this out or whatever. But whoever signed off and told him that was a good idea to, like,
Release
have
on the record.
such a like teenage journal entry, like, just such base emotion of being so angry at one individual person. You're like, I don't know that an artist at this high level needs to have an okay, to put that through.
Right,
That song is not
to
good.
stoop to that.
Right.
Right,
But that being
exactly.
said, I mean, this album also, it does have You Are Not Alone.
Right.
That is one of his greatest
Free will,
ballads.
you guys, free will.
No. That's Will You Be There.
Oh, that's right.
I know. I made the same mistake in my mind
They
many
merge.
times. Exactly.
So
But
easy.
yeah.
Really? Because they're, like, actually they're pretty different melodically.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
But, so, like, History, my argument is that History is, like, 2/5 of a good album. Basically.
not even.
Yeah.
Sorry, I think History opens really strong. I think because it was paired with a greatest hits CD, he just totally front loaded it.
Yeah.
He put the 5 best songs on tracks 1 through 5, and then he filled the rest because he had an hour and 12 minutes.
This time around,
Right.
it's one of
Like-
the best songs. Is that-
On this record, it is.
I mean, You Are Not Alone comes up later, but, that's just,
Right, but that's like an outlier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because, like, oh my god, speaking of the worst songs because he's talking, Money.
Oh, Money.
Oh, yes.
Oh, Money.
Right, money. That's his again. My paranoid is moving from my relationships to, like, the working people around me, of just, like, everyone's against me, or not necessarily everyone's against me, but it's so easy for people to turn against me.
You know
kind
what
of thing.
Money actually reminds me of? It reminds me of when Madonna
fooled.
raps.
Wow. Okay.
It's that bad.
I get a double shot. It goes up through my bate.
Oh my gosh.
Alright,
And you
so,
know it's satisfying.
anyway, but the long story short,
Oh,
guys, we've been
okay.
spending a lot of time talking about our number 6 slot on this podcast. So
Oh,
listen,
man.
my vote, I would say, I know you got your hangups with Escape. My argument is that I'm not going to call it a classic. I do think there's a little bit more to it, especially in terms of brevity and consistency. But I would definitely put History below it. That's just me. Taryn, where do you fall?
I would also put History below it. Just on a, like, when you're looking at a song-by-song basis, I think Escape is certainly flawed, but it's consistently enjoyable for me, whereas, like, I can't get through the second half of History. I just can't even do it. It's just so overloaded.
Yeah.
With just, a lot of the, like, up-tempo songs really blur together, and it's just mediocre. They don't have hooks. They don't have interesting production, and on that end, I think Escape has the edge.
So, and listen, I'm willing to be swayed on that argument. I'm not, like, definitively, like, that's definitely locked in at number 6.
Yeah.
Will Hodge, where do
So
you...
let me ask you guys this.
Oh, God.
With what happened to Escape, do you think that would happen to Prince?
Oh, I mean, that's...
Because Prince has
No.
tons of stuff that's not released.
But you know why? Because
yeah.
Prince... Quality control was never an issue with Prince.
Right.
Prince, I mean, also because he's the whole deal, he writes and plays and sings, he has probably about 20 albums of
Right.
material that is done. Like, it's
Yeah.
done.
Right, because he'll just sit down in the studio. He already has the song written.
Yeah.
He will, he'll sit down. He'll record the drum track himself. He'll lay down the vocals. He'll record the piano. He'll record the guitar. And he did that in 6 hours, and then he would take the rest of the day off.
Yeah.
And that song is done, and
Yeah.
he'll put it out on an album.
But for both artists like that work so hard at their craft, and they're perfectionists to the point, not just because of being control freaks, but because they have earned the right to show that they know what's good. I feel like that, and once again, this goes back to, I understand, like, music versus legacy kind of thing. There's a part that you just feel like, man.
But
if
see,
it's-
except here's the thing. I feel like they already shot their wad with Michael on that one. Because
Right.
Michael was embellic of the worst possible tendencies of people
it should have
fucking
started
with
with the
this legacy.
sound
And-
of a cash register.
Right.
Right,
I mean,
and
actually,
like they
funny.
and
Right.
the market responded.
Yeah, because it did not do well, and people
Right.
were ready to like
Give us more.
They
Michael.
wanted
We'll
like
take
exactly. They
anything.
wanted to hear it. Those things, and so they and that's why Escape didn't do nearly as well as Michael. And Michael already kind of failed by usual standards of Michael Jackson
Yeah.
albums too,
Yeah.
because they just like really robbed the grave on that.
Yeah, and they really, I mean, they destroyed any chance they had of anyone taking a posthumous album seriously, which I think is a real shame
Yeah, for
because
sure.
Escape is so good.
Yeah.
Right.
So listen, I understand. I
Yeah.
understand the
I'm
philosophical
fine, yeah.
underpinnings on that. I really do.
Right.
I think if on just a pure song level,
And I
Escape
think-
is.
Honestly, I think I would put Escape higher than History even if they had just given us the demos.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Bold. Okay.
So at the very
Yeah.
least, and can we lock in History at number 6?
Yeah, I think Absolutely.
Okay, and
Absolutely.
the reason why that is a significant achievement is because, guys, we've been talking about 3 albums.
I think we can lock in. I think we can lock in Escape at number 5, right?
Oh yeah.
Definitely? Okay.
Definitely. Yeah.
Great.
Because it's definitely not above
Yeah.
anything we have.
Yeah,
left.
exactly.
So
All right.
Yeah, that was a conversation for 5 and 6. Just
Exactly.
figure out
Okay,
where
good.
they
In
were
that
headed.
case, guys, listen, we've been talking about Michael Jackson for over an hour. We have ranked. Well, listen, we did the Motown albums too, so I don't feel too bad about it. But guys,
Right.
listen, this has been an amazing part 1. We've gone through a lot, and even though we only have 4 albums left, they are 3 of the best-selling albums of all time. So I'm really not too worried about what's going on there. We're going to talk about it. In the meantime, everyone, I know you got feelings. I know you got opinions. I know you probably hate at least one of us for something that we said. Probably me. Let's be real. Leave your notes in the comments. I want to hear about them. Please listen to us. Share on all the different networks and all the other shit that we're on. Please do. In the meantime, we're going to see you in the part 2 episode. Thank you so much for listening. Keep on listening. You know that we'll be. We'll see you soon, guys. All right. Bye.